Alex?
Yeah, I think you could start now, please, Colette. Yeah.
Okay. So can everybody see my slides?
Yeah, I can see those. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay. So I just wanted to start today by asking everybody a question. There might be some of you who've done it. Has anyone ever done the Race for Life? Oh, nobody's done it. Is
No.
there anyone? Nobody's done
Wanna
it.
use
Okay.
this?
Oh, we've got one. Excellent. Well, you might know what I'm talking about then. So the reason I'm asking that is because I can clearly remember my first ever presentation with my knees shaking jelly and feeling awful, and avoided presentations for many years until I decided to take a career change, which pushed me out of my comfort zones, and I became a diet and fitness consultant and ended up delivering the warm-ups. I didn't get to wear such a fancy outfit as this lady in this picture, but delivering warm-ups for Race for Life in front of hundreds of people. So I do honestly believe that if I can overcome that fear of presenting, then I think everyone can. I have been working in workforce development of stroke healthcare professionals for about 10 years now, and the workforce and training team identified this as one of your learning needs and suggested that I might want to deliver some presentation skills training. This is to complement a guide or a handout that the team are also developing to support you guys in that. And I have basically, hopefully, be able to give some information today around that. So, for the purposes of using Teams, I'm aware that many of you might have trouble with bandwidth, etc. But if you can keep videos on, it's nice to see people engaging. Please stay on mute though, so that we don't interrupt the team. And then, if you would like to ask questions, please do. I'll be able to keep an eye on the chat. So, if you've got any questions, use the raise hand function. And you might also be asked to contribute, so you can contribute either by speaking or using the chat function as well. And so I did just want to spend a little bit of time getting to know the people in the room. So I'm aware we're short on time. If we can keep it brief, I'll just go round my list. If you can tell me your name, role and professional background and why you're attending today, that would be really appreciated. So I'm going to start with Lorraine, but that might just be to watch me, oversee me, make sure I'm doing everything right.
I don't know about the overseeing bit, but yeah. So I'm Lorraine, as I'm a stroke non-medical consultant at Preston. Yeah, and I'm the or Alex, I don't even know what the title is. Am I training and education senior responsible officer? It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
I
But
think
yeah,
so. That sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, for
So I'm
workforce.
yeah, so I'm that one. But that's me.
Thank you, Lorraine. Okay, and Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon. I'm the ward manager for stroke rehab on Rookwood Bay at Chorley Hospital. Um, I'm attending this just because I have no presentation skills at all, and whenever I'm asked to present anything, I would rather pull my own teeth out. So I'm here to try and gain some skills.
Excellent. Thank you very much,
I look
Sharon.
professional.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who feel the same as you do. Thank you. Catherine, Salt, in case there's another
Yeah,
Catherine.
yeah. Hi, I'm Catherine Salt. I'm a physio in the community team in Bower-in-Furness in Cumbria. Um, I am wanting to be here just to, similar to yourself, as trying to build up my confidence with presenting and knowing how to put together a decent presentation.
Okay, thanks very much, Catherine.
Thank you.
Charles Cooksey. Sorry, Charles,
Hi,
you're eating
sorry.
dinner.
I haven't got a mic on my laptop, so. My name's Charlie. I'm one of the Band 5 physiotherapists. I'm currently in the stroke therapy team in Bowen-Furness.
Okay, thank you very much. And I might as well do Rosie whilst you're there, if that is
Hello.
Rosie.
Yeah, so I'm Rosie. I'm one of the physios that works with the stroke therapy team. We've been signposted as a team actually to this particular presentation. So there's a few of us from this team,
Okay.
from the very same team on this call. So you may get the same answer from a lot of us. But yes, we've been signposted to this and we decided to attend as a team just to pick up any top tips or handy hints for presentations because we all run like in-service trainings and things. So.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, Charlie Jackson.
Oh, I haven't got my audio on. Oh, there we go. Hiya, I'm an occupational therapist. I'm in the stroke therapy team as well, same as Rosie and Charlie. And yeah, I feel like this will be good for me because my presentation skills are not very good, so I'd like to get a bit more confidence in it. I also help, well, I will be helping facilitate the neuro online rehab enroll.
All
So I
right.
feel like this would be really good in preparation for that for me.
Brill, excellent. So yes, you've got a goal to work to as well there, Charlie. Thank you. Linda Dunn.
Hi, I'm a nurse consultant at East Lancs. I also take the lead role in education. So, I did presentation skills a long time ago when I was working in a different profession as a training coordinator. So, I just want to brush up on my skills, and some nice tricks and hints from you would be really good.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. Annika.
Hi everybody, I'm Annika Edmondson. I'm Head of Therapies at Blackpool Teaching Hospitals, and I just think a refresher on things like this is always good.
Definitely. If we don't use it, we lose it. And Ian Johnston.
Hi, afternoon. Ian Johnston, Head and Trauma Programme Lead at Specialised Commissioner North West within NHS England. Why am I here? I've got to do quite a big and important presentation at the end of May to an ICB board, so quite timely I saw this, so any hints and tips I can kind of incorporate within that are greatly appreciated.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Ian. So again, that's kind of like the pressure of maybe a different audience or something like that. Okay, yeah, brilliant. Kate Armistead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Kate Armistead. I am community physio, neurophysio based in Barrow-in-Furness. And again, just like everybody says, just any hints and tips and refresher, and just, yeah, it's just something that makes me feel really nervous and apprehensive delivering in-service trainings or anything like that involves presentations.
Oh, that's interesting. So you see, I always get the perception that you guys are just loving in-service training, and that's fine. It's just part of the normal day-to-day. So that's interesting to hear. Thank you. We're nearly through, everyone. So thank you for your patience. And I have Kelly Jo.
Hi, yeah, same as everybody. Oh, sorry, I'm stroke physiotherapist at Furness General. And same as everybody else, just want to improve my skills and confidence at presenting, and this has been signposted to us, so I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kelly Jo. Lauren.
Hiya, my name's Lauren. I'm the practice educator at Brain Kind over in Preston. We do neurological care. I'm quite new to the practice educator role from being a nurse. So yeah, any tips and tricks that you've got would be really helpful for me.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sharing a name with my favourite actor as well there. And Marie Platt.
Hi, I'm a physio at Brain Kind with Lauren. Not that she's a physio, and yeah, I've no confidence with presenting, so yeah, any help will be good.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully you'll get some confidence from this. Natasha.
Hi, I'm Tasha. I'm from the stroke team too, and I'm an assistant practitioner. And yeah, I just hate public speaking. So any tips and tricks to help?
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Natasha. And again, you're not alone on that. Rosie. Oh, we've done Rosie, haven't we? Apologies, Rosie. Yes, you've. And I've just noticed that you're eating. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, Paul Russell. Hi, Paul. You are on mute, I think.
Hiya, I'm Paul Russell. I'm a neuropsychologist and I work into the Acquired Brain Injury Service for Cumbria. And similar to what other people have said, I often do presentations, but you know, the slides and everything, it's just like really basic. So anything, I've been roped into doing a poster at some event in May. So yeah, same refresher tips, any tricks, etc. Well received. Thank you. Just mind if I eat my lunch while I'm listening?
Absolutely. Everyone, please do feel free to eat your lunch. I'm aware that you're all cramming this into a busy day. Jill Salter.
Hiya, I'm Jill OT and I'm in the community stroke team in Blackpool. I also present on Enroll on fatigue management and I love it. It's really good fun. So I enjoy. But I'm the opposite really. I want to put too much in. I really, really get so enthusiastic that I just want to ram everything on a PowerPoint and just talk for ages, and I need to get more concise. Thank you.
Excellent, yeah, and I think that's something that we can be all guilty of, really. And slides in particular are challenging to make interesting. I'm not going to claim mine are interesting today, actually, guys, so please don't expect too much. And then Andrea is our last but not least.
Hi, yeah, I'm Andrea. I'm a stroke specialist nurse at East Lancs. I work very closely with Linda Dunn as part of education. I do a lot of education with nursing and the medical side as well, so a lot of presentations. So it's just a good way of a bit of a refresh, really, I think, if there's anything new that I can take from it.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. And thanks it's really useful to hear that, guys, just to hear kind of the concerns that you have and what you're looking for from today. And hopefully we should be able to cover some of that. So I will just move my slides on when I can get my mouse moving. So the rationale for presentation skill development will be covered. Why do we want to do it? Common concerns, what your role in presenting is, and some hints and tips around slides and content. And I just wanted to pose a question. You don't all have to answer it. If you want to type in the chat, please do, or just pop your hand up if you aren't in the middle of a mouthful. But how do you feel about presenting? What words would you use to describe it? And we've had, I'd rather pull my own teeth out. I have no confidence. What else? Awkward, yeah, okay.
Terrifying.
Terrifying, okay. Terrifying, fear, nervous, daunting, hate it, very self-conscious, yeah, feel sick. Right, okay, so these are wonderful words to be using whilst you're eating. I do hope I'm not putting you off your lunch and you're not starting to feel that way. But yes, you're not alone. And essentially the reasons for this can be kind of look back into evolutionary responses, because nerves, as you are all aware, I'm sure, arouse the autonomic nervous system. The body is basically preparing for battle, and this hyperarousal leads us to feel those symptoms, those emotional experiences of fear, and it can interfere with our ability to perform effectively and comfortably in front of audiences. Another thing that you may have just noticed in the introduction, we can often speak quite negatively about ourselves. So we have that kind of negative self-talk. I'm no good at professional speaking or public speaking. And then also presentations that start to be seen through that negative lens as something to be afraid of, or something that can damage rather than actually be something that will improve your image or improve services and things like that as well. So we can be afraid of being judged, whether it's real or imagined. Obviously, if you're at a conference or something and you're at a showcase where someone is actually judging you for a prize, then yes, that's true judgment. But we can be afraid of it. And again, that exacerbates that physiological response, and it taps into those negative beliefs about presentations as well. And a lack of experience. We often don't actually get experience in presenting, or we have lots of experience in front of particular audiences. So as you mentioned, in service training, but then when we're asked to speak in front of different people, all of a sudden those worries come back. We're afraid of making mistakes, of freezing, our minds going blank, that kind of thing. And the other thing is that we often really overestimate the stakes of the presentation. You know, at the end of the day, it is just you providing some information to some other people. But we kind of see, if you know, it might be that if you're presenting a new idea that you're really keen that people take on, you don't want people to automatically think it's negative. So you want to make sure that it's done right. Or it could be because of the status of the people that you're presenting to. So whether that's I can't remember your name. I think it was Ian was going to be presenting to the ICB, and then obviously, yeah, the stakes are challenging, and then it makes presenting even more daunting. So again, just a brief one from you guys. Why do you think? Why do we do presentations? What's the point of them?
For training.
For training, yeah, education, sharing knowledge. Okay. Right information to others. Yeah, promote services, definitely.
It's just for training. So anybody else have any?
Okay, so yeah, so essentially it's to inform or educate. As you know, in service training, you're obviously doing a lot of that. It might be that you want to persuade or influence people. It might be that you want to galvanize people into action and to do something. It might be that you are presenting or working with patients or service users. So you want to build trust and credibility in your skills or your knowledge. And it could be to advance personal objectives. So it might be, you know, to gain funding for something. There's a variety of reasons and they all intersect. Sometimes we're trying to inform and inspire, you know, sometimes we're trying to build trust and get funding. So there's lots of different reasons that we're doing them, but the benefits are very clear. If we can develop presentation skills, they are a really good opportunity to speak to people in real time. So unlike assignments, journal articles, business cases, press releases, it gives that opportunity to foster relationships, meet like-minded people and build collaboration. Developing new skills as well, because as you prepare for a presentation, and I noticed in the chat, there's a couple of things mentioned by you guys. So one says, if I know the topic and slide layout, or that's Linda, and then Jill says I need to prep and feel okay before the nerves can kick in. And that's really important. And one of the things often we don't have time, especially in your roles, is the actual time to plan and prepare. But if you do take that time, so preparing and delivering encourages you to think critically about the topic that you are going to be discussing. It helps you develop your organisational skills and research skills, because you might need to find out an answer to something that you hadn't previously thought about. And it also makes us think about what information we want to share and how we're going to share it. So it gives us those evidence synthesis skills to communicate with different audiences. It does increase confidence as well. The more you present, the better you get at it. That's the simple fact. It overcomes that fear of public speaking, and hopefully it should lead to kind of greater self-assurance. And, you know, you might be starting off with one of the people who rock. We start that way, and then all of a sudden you're there quite confidently striding around a podium with a pointer in your hand. But yeah, and also it is a strategic skill for gaining a competitive edge and credibility and giving yourself a positive reputation. So it's a really good predictor of personal, professional and academic success. So your role as a presenter. So there's one key thing that I kind of want to take away today is the most important thing about presentation skills is it isn't all about you. It's about the audience. A successful presentation is designed to meet the needs of the audience, answer their questions, solve their problems if that's the point of the event, or rather than simply showcasing what you know about something. And some of the ways that we can kind of try and take ourselves out of it is by overcoming our fears. So the nerves we lack can be due to the nerves that we have can be due to a lack of experience, as I've mentioned, but it's not necessarily the fact that we aren't having experience, it's that we don't practice in environments that replicate the things that we are going to do. So for instance, if you were going to go and speak at the UK Stroke Forum, it would be hard to replicate that in a hospital room whilst you were practicing a presentation. But as healthcare professionals, you are likely familiar with things like simulation training. So it might be that you could work together to create opportunities to practice or have public speaking workshops in lunch hours. So like some low stakes opportunities to practice those skills. I know I do have colleagues who will just send out an email to the entire university saying I'm booking this room at this time and I'm going to practice my presentation, and they just see whoever turns up and they speak in front of them. If you are that brave, please do go ahead and do that. It's a really good low stakes way to practice. I have to say, I prefer practicing on my own in a darkened room until the words are right, but it's entirely up to you. We all do things differently. Peers can also help us overcome our skills, because ironically, one of the biggest fears about public speaking is doing it in front of our peers, because we're worried about that judgment. But they are a really good support mechanism, so they can help you to practice, they can review your presentation, they can be a critical friend. And also, if you have a friend at an event, you can always pop them, I'm sure you've done this before, but you pop them in the audience with a question ready to ask, so that you do have a question and you know the answer as well. Relaxation techniques are really useful to overcome those feelings. So it can be useful to practice different breathing mechanisms. There's lots of different ones. You can see some tips on there about 4-7-8 box breathing or alternate nostril breathing, or you can have a mantra. So you could be constantly repeating, I am prepared, I am confident, I speak with clarity. Or just imagine that your presentation was going to go well. Positive visualization is a really good way of kind of mastering those feelings of panic that we can have. And self-confidence is something that we're not necessarily born with. You need to keep practicing. It's like a muscle, just like presentation skills in the end are a muscle that you need to keep training to develop. And ways to demonstrate confidence when you're speaking are to slow down. Apparently confident speakers speak about 20% slower than other people. You might not believe it, but this is actually far slower than I normally would talk. But I am often criticised for speaking too fast in presentations. So it's something that you have to kind of think about, take that time and breathe. Rushing doesn't actually allow people the time to digest what you've said. So actually using those pauses isn't just for you, it's for the audience, but it does allow you to your breathing to settle down, and you will then become more controlled and steady and project that confidence even if you're not feeling it. And there is something around this kind of thing of performance versus communication. So a lot of the nerves, researchers think that the nerves that we feel as presenters can come from the fact that we feel we need to put on a show. Whereas actually, if we start to think about it as we are just communicating information, it can reduce those nerves. And the other thing is, like, if you're doing a performance, that's kind of aiming for, pleasing the audience or applause or something like that. Whereas communication actually aims for generating understanding and leaving the room with a deeper understanding of what it is that you were talking about. Now, has anyone seen Ted Lasso? Forgive me. Everyone kept saying it to me 2 years ago and I didn't listen, but I finally have watched it and I do recommend it for anyone. It was a big it was a big part of Deb Lowe's talking around leadership. She's very much into Ted Lasso, and if anyone has seen it, you'll be familiar with this lady who is one of the only female chairmen of a football club. And in this scene, she is trying to talk to someone about how to develop their confidence. And when she has to go into meetings with all male, older football owners, she makes herself big beforehand to get her confidence up. And it's a power stance. And you may have seen that. I'm not asking you all to do that, especially not in front of the people that you're presenting at, but it might be thinking about what kind of things make you feel better. Is it standing up tall, pulling your shoulders back, breathing in, going for a walk around the building beforehand? There's lots of different things that you can do to make yourself feel more confident. You're going to see a lot of numbers today. We will talk through all sorts of different rules that have different numbers aligned to them. But with regards to delivery, it's key that you are kind of projecting or delivering on all three channels. So these are the verbal, non-verbal and visual. So it's about what you say. So it is, whilst the content is also important, it's the tone, it's the pacing, it's the pitch. So you can change the pitch for more important things. It's about how you make sure that what you're saying is relevant, understandable. If you bring up anything that's an acronym or people don't know what it is, make sure you define terms when they're introduced to make sure that the audience is understanding. The non-verbal stuff is what I was talking about before, around the lady making herself big, but how you speak and move, shoulders back, eye contact, find a couple of friendly faces in the audience who you can make eye contact with, purposeful movements if you are going to move, and open-handed gestures rather than kind of keeping yourself all hunched up. And again, project your voice clearly, pause, vary the tone, emphasize importance. And that's all basically an extension of the content, and how you move can communicate that self-confidence, positively influence the audience, and then they'll be more likely to take on board what you're talking about. And then finally, the visual presentation slides, which we will talk about shortly. Does everyone practice out loud before they do a presentation? I've got a nod. That's a nod from Rosie. Anyone else? You can type it in the chat if you want to. Yes. Oh, yes. Excellent. Okay. So obviously I mentioned one way of practicing out loud would be to book a room and invite people along. Okay. Paul says nope. Yeah. Okay. So I have to say one of the most important tips I ever learned was learning to practice out loud. And I'll speak more about this later, but it's really important because it helps you, it increases your confidence and delivery and builds muscle memory. So your mouth, your brain, your body, everything gets kind of used to what you have to do to deliver the presentation. It ensures that you understand things as well, because actually as you start talking, you might find that the way you explain something isn't coming across right, so you can rephrase it so that you can then make it more understandable for the audience. It reduces filler words as well. We often find that people, and I'm definitely guilty of it, have ums and ahs and pauses, but it does allow you to increase that speech fluency, and it identifies phrases that you stumble over. So for instance, when Lorraine was introducing herself with her particularly wordy title, and I know mine at one point was Leader for Collaboration, Leadership in the Applied Health Research Collaboration, Northwest Coast. You know, when you have to say these types of things over and over again, it's useful to practice them out loud because your mouth gets used to saying it. And again, engaging those multiple senses makes the brain see the links between your actions, your movements, and also the links between your content, so that you're able to make those links more clear to the audience. So presentation content and slides planning is non-negotiable, guys. So we've had the three is the magic number when it comes to delivery, and now we have 3: plan, prepare, and practice. Really important. The practice, I would say, is the actual key one for me, but you will identify which ones your strengths are yourselves. But you really need to consider who are the audience here. And again, when I was planning this presentation, I thought about you guys, and that was my preconceived idea, that you would be all quite happy with in-service training and delivering to peers, because it's just something that you have to do as part of your job. But obviously it still has those connotations of fear and judgment and worry. So think about who they are, what's the baseline knowledge, what do they want to know, and then why are you there? What is your desired outcome? What's your motivation? Are you trying to inform them, persuade them, inspire them? And you need to think about the links between those two things when you are planning your content and your slides. So one of the ways that I try to think about what to include in a presentation, I can never remember must, should, could. I always get it the wrong way around, so I always think of it as shoulda, woulda, coulda, whichever helps. But yes, so must is the critical information that you have to include. So this prioritization framework, again, that is a phrase that I clearly stumble over, so I need to practice in future, helps you decide what needs to be included. So the critical information, it depends on the purpose of the presentation. So your key information, your take-home messages, what are you trying to tell people what you've done, or are you trying to tell people what you need to achieve in the next kind of week or things like that? And the must is difficult, as we often think we need to include everything. And I can't remember who said that. I think that might have been Jill. But we don't need to. You have opportunities for follow-up conversations with people. You have opportunities to provide follow-up information if necessary, if you haven't completed it all. And you could always potentially schedule another session if there is so much more that people need to know. So it's important, try to make sure that the must list isn't too long so that you are diluting the information. The should is things that you might want to include, but the presentation won't fail without them. And then the could are things that are nice to have, so value added things. For instance, when I deliver poster presentation training, I obviously have to deliver it in a way that people are informed to develop a poster that is suitable for presentation at an academic conference or suitable for an assignment at university. However, there is a growing kind of trend in poster presenting to take everything off a poster and just have like a title. And you might have seen it as the Better Poster movement. When I teach that presentation skills training, I always keep that at the end, just in case, if I have time, if we've got through content a bit earlier, I can cover it, but if not, so they're the kind of things that you would leave out if necessary. Introductions or hooks. Again, it's your first moment to connect with the audience when you start your presentation. So really think about what you might want to use there. So your hook could be a surprising statistic. So it might be something like, research shows that almost 70% of people are afraid of public speaking. Or it could be a rhetorical question. I was just going to say that statistic wasn't actually that surprising, was it? It could be a rhetorical question. Does anyone else want to call in sick on the day that they want to present? Or it could be, have you ever, or what if? It could be a short anecdote or a personal story to try and build connection with the audience. And so, for instance, I could have said at the start of this, I think I can make you all the best. So it could be a bold statement. So I think I can make you all the best presenters in the world after one session. You know, it might have gained your interest, but it might have been a lie as well. But yeah, so there's different things that you can say that kind of get the audience engaged, challenge assumptions, or pique their interest. And then you need to think of the bridge. So this builds the bridge or the gap between what you've said and then what you're going to deliver. So why are you here and what are you presenting today? And then you do your personal introduction. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have sat through many presentations where people present and they list all of their roles and their experience and everything they've ever done. And actually, it's really not interesting. It's not relevant and it's not important. All you need to know is what that person knows about the presentation that they're delivering today, or what their role is that is relevant to that. And you don't need to drone on about all your skills. They can actually come throughout the presentation if necessary. So for instance, you'll have seen, and I purposefully put this slide in, and forgive me, I'm just going to go back so you don't all feel dizzy, but I purposely did my slide like this at the beginning so you can see that I have two roles and also doing some study, and I could talk about all the different things in there, and lots of people do, but there's no need to do that because it isn't important for the people that are here today. So I just mentioned that I'm involved in workforce development and have done presentations, so it's useful for you guys to think about that when you're presenting yourself. And then finally, the audience benefit. What is it? Why are they here? And what are they going to learn from you today? Thinking about that so that they kind of feel engaged and ready to listen because they know what they're going to get out of it is really important. So for you guys in particular, other impactful openings are perhaps a case study, so describing a patient scenario and asking your audience if they've ever seen something like that. So it can often be something that's designed to shock potentially, a picture of a patient complication, something that's been happening more regularly, or you might want to give a statistic, so describe a significant increase in something that's happening that might be shocking, that might galvanize people to action or want them to listen, and just something that gets that impact, and then describe why this matters to your audience. And again, starting with something like that, then moving into the next bits can be useful. So here we have another rule, the structure of three. So we're moving into slide design now. And essentially you should try to think about your presentation as having three parts. You've got your introduction, where you might use your hook, you set in the scene, you explain why you're there, you find out why the participants are there, you grab their attention, then you go into the main body. So this is kind of the meat of it. Logical flow, try to link between sections. You might be providing evidence, you might be needing to tell a story about something that's happened in care or in practice, and make people think about why they want to change that. And then finally, you move into your conclusions. So that's where you're reiterating what you've already told them, and you might want to end with a call to action of what you want people to do next. So audiences find it easier to remember things, information, if you kind of keep it into that key introduction, main body and conclusion. And you can also use a technique called a tell them technique, or tell them. So it's 1, you tell them what you're going to tell them, 2, you tell them, and 3, you tell them what you've told them. So it's kind of that reinforcement throughout the session, so people leave with the message that you're trying to convey. Now, before I move to the next slide, how confident do we feel with slide design? I got the impression that some people didn't feel very confident with it, and that it was they could be a bit dull or put too much on. Are there any other concerns about slide design?
I find it really hard if you're we used to do in-service trainings face to face, and I used to much prefer that, being in the same room. I really struggle when you are looking at your screen, you're on Teams, you're trying to click on links, so you might have to open another tab, then you're trying to come back and find where you are, where you're actually speaking to people, and come to questions and reading any comments and then moving on to the next slide. I just find that part of it, so I just get lost.
Yeah. And again, that's, you know, that's a really tough one actually, Kate. And the room that I'm in looks a bit like a spaceship or a space dock for controlling things, because I often found the same, and especially with teaching on modules and things, like you say, trying to keep on top of the chat. And it's okay if you have a partner or a collaborator in there who can keep on top of the chat and tell you things, but if it's just you, it's really challenging. However, my solution to that was to have 2 screens plus a laptop. So I have you guys on one screen, the slides on another, and then another screen for links and presentations and things. But I'm aware that not everybody can do that or has the room to do it. I'm just very lucky to be hidden away in a little hole with my 3 screens. But has anyone else in the room got any tips for how they manage that? No more tips for how they manage it. The only thing I would say as well, Kate, is that I do just get all of the links up, close down any extraneous information, and try to have all links in the right order, etc. But I'm sure you already do that because that's just preparing for the session. Okay,
yeah,
so
the other thing that I find, the other thing that I find really hard, I don't know if you have any tips on this, is that when we used to do it and you'd speak to people and you'd be in the same room, I can look at a friendly face and I can see them smiling or nodding, or do you know what I mean? Whereas when I'm on Teams, I sometimes think, is anybody there? Because I'm looking at my slides and I can't see them, and I just, without getting that feedback or reassurance, that I really struggle with that. And that's the thing with me. It's not necessarily the presenting, it's the over Teams, and it's more my IT skills, I think, rather than the actual speaking to people.
Yes, and I know exactly what you mean. And we have a director in one of our organisations who insists on everybody being camera on, but the problem is not everyone can be camera on. A, because of internet connection, B, because of circumstances, C, because you're eating your lunch and you don't want everyone to see you eating your lunch. So there's loads of reasons. Over time, I've just come to believe that if they are here and interested, and try to ensure that, like, for instance, I can see 3 faces at the moment, and I have had interaction with those. So can you not see anyone, Kate?
So when I'm delivering my in-service trainings, I have a laptop and usually try and do it at home, just so that you haven't got the background noise of everybody else. So if you're just doing it on your laptop and I'm trying to look at the screens and deliver, I really struggle. I haven't got the 2 screens to see other people at the same time.
Yeah, it might be worth, can you build in kind of between slides, build in short breaks where you kind of take the slides off and ask some questions and speak to them in between things, kind of build that in regularly throughout so that you get the opportunity to see people?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, this is just all the techniques. Yeah,
it is, and it's trial and error as well. But yeah, it's just a case of, ideally, I just hook onto the odd person. I did teach a group for 3 years, and there was only one person who was ever on camera. They just felt like my best friend, really, by the end of it. But yeah, it's just definitely building in those opportunities to take the slides down, or even and have the chat, but also be aware that they are there, they are listening, and you're just doing your best in communicating information. So but it is challenging without feedback. Like, thank you for engaging with me then. And also Timothy has said how many slides to include. So again, we're going to get to another rule for you, Timothy. But yes, so essentially there's some laws of slide design apparently. So for instance, something you might see is 6 words per line or 6 lines per slide. However, I have seen also other places that say 5 words per line or 5 lines per slide. So these are a guide, they're not a law. And if you look at my first line, does it actually break that law? You know, it has 8 words unless we don't count the 6s, and then it's only 6. So, you know, it's essentially a guide to make you be aware of the fact that your slides need to be not be too wordy or heavy. Again, keywords and images and not paragraphs. So ideally you shouldn't be putting too much in there, but it depends on the need of the audience. Again, if they need to be able to read it afterwards and it actually has to be useful and prompt and deliver information, then potentially you need to have that information in the slide. But it might be that you would have one slide that kind of the brief overview that you talk to, and then the next slide is something you say, and all that information is here, and then we're going to move on to the next bit. Because I don't know about you, but there's nothing worse than you might see a really engaging speaker, but then they share the slides and all you've got is 12 different big pictures that they talk to, and that's great for them, but it's not great for me afterwards to be able to remember what they said or learned. Visually bold and colourful, again, that can be easier said than done, because depending on guidance, you know, the university slides that we've got are incredibly dull and we have to use them. But try to be creative where possible. So in your images, in your graphs, again, maintaining space. Space means that your slides aren't cluttered. It also then should mean that your message is clear and not cluttered as well. And then we have another rule. So this is one of them. So use roughly 10 slides, last no longer than 20 minutes, and use no smaller font than 30-point font. I will tell you that I think I have broken every single one of those rules for the purposes of this presentation. And again, it depends on your audience. It depends on the ask. If you are being asked to deliver an hour's worth of content, then obviously you can't do that. But usually we try to work on a slide should take about a minute to talk to, if not longer. So we do want to have fewer slides. And revealing content gradually can reduce cognitive overload. So you may see people using animations in slides. However, they can get really annoying when people are bringing a line in one after another, or even worse, people forget to click. So they'll start talking about it and then they click through all the lines because all of a sudden they remembered. So again, if you are using animations, you need to be using the 3 Ps, plan, prepare and practice, so you know when your animations are coming. Or like I have just done here, put animation in your notes so that you can see it. And essentially all of these are just guides for you guys to use. Opinions are like belly buttons. Just because everyone's got one doesn't mean they're useful. 6 words per line. Don't be going around counting every line or taking them out, but these are all just things to make you consider your slide design and think about how best you can convey that information. So I just wanted everyone now, just as we are about to end, to think about when you should think about a good presentation have you seen. Do you remember the slides? Did you think, oh, they had only 6 lines per words per line, or you know, oh, they had the 3 Ps?
I always think that I remember the presenter more. So kind of like that, you mentioned before, like Deb Lowe. I couldn't tell you the content of Deb Lowe's slides, but by God, I could tell you like her being on the stage and her presence on the stage.
Yeah.
And that kind of energy and passion and that side. And then I think it's that bit that I remember more than the slides, more than anything.
I know, and I've just realised that now makes it really challenging for us all, because we now need to be passionate and memorable rather than doing good slides.
But do you know what I mean? But even online, if there's someone that's talking through something, you kind of come away and go, oh God, that was really good. And it's just, and I remember it's the words and that kind of energy and that kind of, it's that bit I remember more than slides.
Yeah.
More than anything. Oh, that's my feeling. So.
Yeah, thank you. Andrea, pictures are more memorable than words, definitely.
Can I add to that last comment? Because I really flap with my hands, and I love presenters that I've just got a really cool as cucumber sort of presentation. There's no overload of clutter then, is there, that I'm taking in? How do I stop flapping hands?
How do we stop flapping hands? Well, I don't know, because I've been flapping mine throughout. I think it's not a case of stopping, but it's a case of modifying. So if you have that tendency, you need one of the things that actually happened in that scene, if I remember rightly. There's something around having open-handed gestures, reducing them, not taking your arms too high, trying to just, and being aware of it as well. One of the worst things that I ever did was watch myself back presenting and noticed how much I shake my head, how much my hands flipped about, how much I said, I must have said that 1,000 times. And I know I've done it today, but it's definitely getting better than it was. So it's a case of identifying the things that you want to improve and then practice on them. So I'm reminding yourself, you know, maybe having a little checklist of what it is that you want to improve that is just at the start of your slides, and obviously remove it before you share them. But then for you, it's that prompt at the start of the day, right? Keep your hands down.
Thank you.
No problem.
Sorry to add, I did put another comment that someone had done a thumbs up on as well, but you might not have the time.
How do you remember content if you put much less content on the PowerPoint slide? So again, I will be openly honest with you guys. A bit like Kate, the move to Teams has de-skilled me massively because of the fact that I have these 3 screens and I had to deliver in person recently. And it was such a challenge, given that that used to be my core job. I used to remember presentations, and now this is a crutch. So again, I tend to remember them by having the key info. It's that must, should, could again. It's that key information that I would like to say about a specific event. So for instance, if they had that picture of Rebecca, the lady from Ted Lasso, I thought, right, so she's a woman in a man's world, need to explain that bit. Then I could remember that the person she was teaching needed the confidence. And then there was obviously, I remember it because it's actually a really memorable scene anyway, but it's kind of picking out aspects of a picture that you can attach those memorable notes to. And again, just remembering that as long as you get across the main thing, the must bit, that's the important bit. And if you miss the other couple of bits, it's not the end of the world.
Thank you.
No problem. And the reason that I mentioned that I've put that question to you all about think about a good presentation, what have you seen? It's because what do you remember from it? Because all of this is a guide, it's an idea, it's all tools to calm you down. As was mentioned earlier in the chat, I feel okay if I've prepped, I feel okay if I've planned, I feel okay if I know it. And it takes it all back to the point of planning, preparation and practice are the things that are going to make you a more memorable and passionate speaker. So don't try not to get logged down into the nuts and bolts of it, basically. So I just wanted to show you what mine was for today, and this is quite a vulnerable moment, but essentially I started looking at this, and I don't know if you can imagine how scary it is to start looking at presentation skill training when it's something you do all the time, and then think, oh gosh, I've got to tell people about it. What is it? I don't know. So my main thing was about trying to empower and prompt reflection about what it is that makes you guys worried about it and how you might be able to overcome that. Developing an understanding of your role in presenting, so that fact that it's not about you, it's about the audience. So try to design with the idea of the audience in mind. Activate learning through engagement, so try to ask people so they think about what they want to know about it, and prompt them to think about ideas that, you know, for instance, about good people that you've seen speaking. So obviously Lorraine's thinking about Deb Lowe there and how engaging and passionate she is. I then had some should, because for me, the practical tips on slide design and presentation styles aren't as important as you being actually remembering to take that time to think about what you need to deliver, and then develop and plan and practice, because then the actual tips about slide design don't really matter. And then also I could offer additional training ideas if I had time. And I've just noticed there's a couple of chat points in the chat. So Andrea is saying pictures are more memorable than words. Yeah. And again, we had someone then saying, how do you remember it if you've got a picture, but try to think about 3 key things you're going to say about a particular slide and hook them on points of the picture. Rosie says that she uses the notes section on PowerPoint if there's more detail. So you're not worried that you won't remember and the audience don't see it and you can print it out. Yep, so that's what I do. I have to say I find it challenging reading from paper notes, but on the computer it's not the end of the world. But again, we all have our different styles. How long does it take people to put together the presentation? IST and practice. Just wondering how long I should give myself. Forgive me, Kate, I'm not sure what that means.
Sorry, in-service training. I always think, right, I've got in-service training coming up. It'll take me a couple of hours. That'll be fine. And then it doesn't. It takes me so much longer. And then I've spent hours trying to get the content, trying to get it down the slides and practicing. And it does. I don't know why it seems to take me so long. And I just wonder, is this normal? Does it normally take people this long to put together a presentation, or am I just overthinking it and should just do it in quicker?
Does anyone in the room have answers to Kate there?
I don't have answers. I don't have answers. I can just empathise. It takes me ages as well. Yeah. Sorry.
I would say to deliver a good presentation, it does take a while to do it. The way that I rationalise that to myself is that the time spent doing it is worth it, because I then have that to deliver moving forwards. So again, going back to the poster presentation skill training that I developed, I've been developing that for 10 years, knew it off by heart, fine and dandy, and then was asked to deliver it for CAFA. I can't remember, is that Council of Allied Health Professionals and Research, whatever the C stands for. And again, it was a bit like today, it prompted that, I need to check what I'm doing here. And I took a day just reading around poster presenting skills, where it came from, the history. And I've got to say, I felt so much better delivering that presentation, and have done since. So the time that you spend on these types of things really does pay off in the end, is what I would say.
Yeah, thanks. It's just reassuring me, because that's what I feel. I feel it takes me absolutely ages, but part of that is my own pressure that I put on myself, and that if I'm going to deliver an in-service training, then I want it to be good. But also, as a manager, I think it's worthwhile kind of thinking about that as we're asking staff members to deliver in-service training, that it does take quite a long time for them to do it, and allowing them that time to prepare for them and to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing how it's taken for granted that you can throw a presentation together and deliver it with no time or practice. Absolutely. So yeah, being more empathetic to others is really important, and that's a fantastic takeaway that I hadn't thought of today. So I did mention potential other things. So preparation, again, back to it being a muscle. So your presentation skills and your self-confidence are muscles that you need to work on. So building that muscle. So you could record yourself and review it if you felt particularly masochistic one day. Alternatively, you could ask a colleague to review it and give you feedback, or a trusted family or friend, and look at your posture, your pacing, your filler words. You can also give each other the opportunity as part of in-service training. Maybe it would be that you each do a mock presentation and have that opportunity just to practice with each other in a safe space, receive peer feedback. It's also really useful to practice an elevator pitch for things. So one of the ways to develop your content is to start with exactly, if you can describe what it is that you want to deliver in an elevator pitch, then that's kind of the spine of what it is that you're going to deliver for the rest of the presentation. If you've got that down, then it helps to focus you, and a bit like Jill said, stops you putting the extra stuff on the slides that you don't need to add, and it takes you back to that must, should, could. PowerPoint karaoke is something I came across in researching for today. Again, it might be a training opportunity you'd like to try, but essentially everyone speaks to slides that they've never seen before, just to practice that kind of standing there speaking and confidence building. Again, not sure if you want to try it, but these are all options. You can take it or leave it. But yeah, so take opportunities and create opportunities for yourselves to keep working that muscle. So in summary, presentation skills are not innate. They are something that are learned and improved through practice. It isn't about you taking an audience-centric approach to development. Try to develop a strong opening and ending. You don't have to tell people everything. The 3 Ps, depends which 3 Ps you want, because there's numbers of 3 Ps, but my most important are the plan, prepare and practice. And try to breathe, slow down, smile, be yourself, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And there are some references there. And that's everything I had to deliver today, guys. So thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate your engagement as well. And I hope it was useful. I hope there was something that you took from it that was a refresher. Has anyone got any questions?
Colette, I just want to say thank you because that was really good. It's it is so scary kind of doing them, and I think what's really nice is you opened up and said, you know, that first bit where you said, actually, it's evolutionary for you to be scared and a bit nervous, and that's okay. And I think sometimes you forget that bit, don't you? That you forget that that's a really normal reaction. And I think, you know, you sort of going, yeah, it's okay to feel dead nervous about it all before you go on. And I think that's definitely something I forget. But I think, yeah, it was excellent. Was that?
Thank you very much. That's lovely feedback. Thank you very much, Elaine. And it was incredibly nerve-wracking doing this for you guys. So I'm glad that it was useful for you.
We didn't notice the nerves. You styled them out brilliantly. So whether you were like, you know, like the duck, and underneath your table, your legs are doing this, but on the top, you look like a swan on the top, and your legs are going like crazy underneath. You styled it out beautifully.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Colette.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
going to be
That was
sending
great.
certificates out for people who've attended. So if there's anyone who's not going to be on the team's list, just let me know. Put their name in the chat. So if there's more than one of you at a screen, basically.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thanks
much,
so
guys.
much.
Have a
Bye.
good
Thank you very
rest of
much,
the day.
Claire.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Brilliant. Thanks.